Hey folks, Nathan here from the Star Wars Timeline Gold, Star Wars Beyond the Films, and Cloud City Casino, a Star Wars gaming podcast for which this is certainly an appropriate topic, over at StarWarsReport.com, bringing you a look at one of the Edge of the Empire source books I haven't had a chance to take a look at yet. This is Edge of the Empire Special Modifications, a source book for technicians. This is the most recent specific class source book for Edge of the Empire. Now, as far as what's in here, pretty much standard stuff, but I think that this is a particularly useful guide. So we got our introductory stuff. We got a first chapter here that's basically setting up your character options. So we have new technician backgrounds, antiquarian, etc., etc. And then technician obligations. Maybe you haven't quite figured out a good way to use the obligations that already exist in Edge of the Empire for your technician. You have a new table here of one specific to technicians. Then we have new species. We have Dugs, Basilisks, Mustafarians from the north and Mustafarians from the south, which is basically a way of saying this is the CGI set of alien species. At least some of them. Then, of course, our traditional background on each one. This is actually relatively light on new continuity information or chronological information. It tends to keep things relatively generalized, for what it's worth. And we have some new specializations. We have the cyber tech, we have the droid tech, and the modder. Cyber tech is cybernetics, by the way. Then we have some new talents, new specific technician motivations, known as innovations in this case. So you can replace your motivations with those. We then have signature abilities. We have inventive creation and unmatched calibration. Which brings us into Chapter 2, Tools of the Trade, which of course is new weapons, new gear and equipment, new vehicles, armor and whatnot. Which brings us to Ingenious Creations. Now, usually this is where we get some info on how would you use this class of character in a campaign, how would you craft a campaign around them, and some suggestions on things like modular encounters and whatnot, or even campaign suggestions. Not so much in this case for technicians, because there is something new added here. So you have integrating technicians, making technical counters exciting, or encounters, excuse me, exciting, and then this is the big deal. We have a whole section on crafting. So if you're a technician, you can craft your own brawl and melee weapons, you can craft ranged weapons, you can craft droids, and all of this is in here. You can do gadgets, you can do cybernetics, all kinds of stuff on crafting. And then you've got some specific encounters, except these specific encounter types and how to run them are specifically designed around slicing, which is the Star Wars version of being a hacker. Which then brings you to selling your services, how much you might get out of it, what kind of rewards you might get out of a campaign, and so forth, and boom, you are done. Just for the crafting alone, for someone who's trying to play as a technician, I think this is a worthwhile book to pick up. But it is, it's very specific for those technician characters. Sometimes you can pick up one of these source books for a particular class and use a lot of what's in it with other classes. I don't see that as much in this case, but when it comes to playing as technicians, this is a fascinating book when it comes to new game options like crafting. So if you're playing as a technician in Edge of the Empire, or have carried that over to any of the other Star Wars RPGs from Fantasy Flight Games, definitely check out Special Modifications.